Peace be upon you, brothers and sisters. This is Said Mirza from MillionaireReason.com, and in today's talk, I wanted to talk about Adobe, and I will be using Adobe as a jumping point to talk about the elites. Actually, this is what this video is really about. But sometimes sometimes the elites, those people who are running the show, basically, they overplay their hand, and you get to see a glimpse of the evil in the system, how it works, and you get to see the different players, how they play their part to create this illusion, to maintain this illusion that you are free and that it's a democracy and that whatever is being done for your benefit, and that the people at the top, they're looking out for you. They really care about you. But as things go, sometimes the elites, they do screw up, and they screw up pretty bad. And this is the case with Adobe. So I didn't want to let this opportunity pass by to kind of give you a glimpse about how things work. Now, if you're new to the channel, you know that one of the talking points in this channel is about the elites, the corrupt elites that are running the show. They control the monetary system, the pharmaceutical system, the educational system, the military system, the industrial system. Everything is in their hands. There is no escape from them. They control the whole world. They dominate it. They work together to achieve their aims, which is the further enslavement of the mankind. This is really the goal. They're working feverishly towards, and they have, for the most part, achieved their objectives. But they're not done with you yet. They're still not done with you. I don't know if you know about Klaus Schwab, but Mr. Schwab, he is a well-known player in the elite circles. He came up with this tagline that got him into a lot of trouble, that he said, you will own nothing and you will be happy. So I wanted to show you, using the Adobe example, how this you will own nothing and be happy, how this is being implemented. And I wanted to show you with the Adobe example the different players, how they work together to give you this illusion that you are free and that you have a choice, and that the big guys, they're working to help you. So let's just dive straight into it. First, let's look at Adobe. What did the boo-boo that Adobe did? Now, Adobe, if you don't know, it's a big company. Those people who are in the creative sphere, they content producers, they use a lot of Adobe products. And Adobe used to be a software that you could just buy and use. That's how softwares used to work. But Adobe, since it's at the cutting edge of evil, they changed their model to a subscription model. You see, you own nothing and you will be happy. Now, the way the Adobe products work is that you have to pay a monthly fee. So that was well and good. I guess people just adjusted to that norm. But really, this is not about the price gouging that Adobe was doing. That's old news. What I wanted to talk about is the updated terms of service that Adobe rolled out, and the blowback that they faced, which ultimately made them turn and basically do a 180 degrees. But we're going to talk about what they did, and we're going to talk about why they did it, because this is the part that I think needs to be understood, is the why. So first of all, what happened? So this is from the website abovethelaw.com. I encourage you to read it if you want to get into more depth on it. I'm just going to kind of skim it. So most people presented with a long boilerplate contract will simply sign it without reading, blah, blah, blah. Now, Adobe last week, the creator of the well-known image-altering software Photoshop, announced changes to its terms of service agreement, which governs how people can use its software. And the users were required to agree. So what was the new terms? The new terms was our access to your content. We may access, view, or listen to your content through both automated and manual methods, but only in limited ways and only as permitted by law. Okay, and then for example, in order to provide the service and software, we may need to access, view, or listen to your content, or to respond to feedback or support requests, detect, prevent, or otherwise address fraud, security, legal, or technical issues, and enforce the terms. So basically, they're giving themselves free reign to spy on you. That's what they're saying, that we can access and view and listen to your content with whatever means we have. Okay, fine. Let's look at the next phrase, the next clause. This is interesting. Licenses to your content. solely for the purposes of operating or improving the service and software you grant as a non-exclusive, worldwide, royalty-free, sub-licensable license to use, reproduce, publicly display, distribute, modify, create derivative works based on, publicly perform, and translate the content. For example, we may sublicense our right to the content to our service providers or to other users to allow the service and software to operate as intended, such as enabling you to share photos with others. So basically, what Adobe is saying here is that they are granting themselves a license, the right to use your work however they please and do whatever they want with it. Okay, this is what they're saying. And no, you can't just take someone's work. This is called stealing. Okay, but Adobe, because they're Adobe, they decided to do this, and they put this in their content in their agreement, and the users had only the option to agree. Otherwise their software would not run, so all the work they were doing, they would be in limbo. So this was this. Okay, so this is what happened. So there was a lot of outrage from a lot of people who said this is ridiculous. You can't just take our work and use it for whatever you want to do. But here's the real issue with this. This is not that Adobe is greedy and that they want to steal your work basically and use it to profit off it. This is more about Adobe being evil. And when I say evil, I mean in the sense that they don't want to just steal your work. What they want to do is they are trying to create AI models, and the AI models need a lot of data to run on to basically get good at a task. So the goal here is to create an AI model, which Adobe is working on, and other companies are working on the same thing too, that will basically give a user whatever they type in. It'll create it. It'll draw the picture or whatever animation that the user is typing in. And guess when that thing is really good, then all these content producers, they will be out of a job, because obviously why would you pay an artist X amount of dollars when you can get an AI to perform the same task multiple iterations and get exactly what you want for cents or dollars or whatever Adobe decides to charge. So it's not only that Adobe is stealing the work, it's training the AI model to put those people who are creating the work out of business. So this is the evil part. This is how this company is operating. Now, that's great. Okay, a lot of people have this theory they're doing it for the money. Okay, but here's the thing, it's not about the money. They have all the money in the world because their pals control the financial system. They can print the money machine and off they go. It's not about the money, it's about control. And this is really the point that people are stuck at, because again, it's about that you will own nothing and you will be happy. So they will steal your work and everything you have, and you will be on a subscription model. You will be renters, or you will have to pay to use anything as a service. And then on top of that, they are going to brainwash you into thinking that this is good, that this is what happiness is, to be a slave. See, this is the part that people have trouble with, but this is what's happening. Okay, and the cat's out of the bag. This is not something that is hidden. You see what's going on. Now, here's the part that a lot of people who made videos on this subject, they are missing, and that part has to do with how the different players, how the different players come together to help each other. Because when this blew up in Adobe's face, they had a public outcry, and they had a PR problem, right? And so they had to bring out press releases, and they had to get their media partners involved in order to get people to settle down and to, the reputation is shot now, so they have to work on regaining the trust of the users so they can screw them over again. So what happened right after that? Well, you have the media, you have the Bloombergs and the CNNs and the Forbes and all this pumping out articles about what actually happened, okay? And this is what the Bloomberg article is about Adobe. Okay, if you just search Adobe Bloomberg, you will get this article. Adobe sued by U.S. regulators over subscription cancellations. A company trapped customers in subscriptions. Lawsuit alleges regulators have been reviewing Adobe's pricing for 2 years. So they've been reviewing it for 2 years. They never took any action. But here's the thing. This is not the issue at which people are pissed off about. They're not. The issue has to do with Adobe stealing their work. But Adobe, because now they have to have a red herring, they have to have a smoke screen, is working with its media partners to distract people from the real issue for which Adobe got caught, into this subscription thing, that this is what people are angry about, that Adobe is gouging its customers. No, that's not the issue. But I just want to show you how these all things are coming together. So you have the media partners running this story to distract people from the real news, which is about something else. And then let's look at this one. FTC, Federal Trade Commission, takes action against Adobe and executives for hiding fees, preventing consumers from easily canceling software subscriptions. So you see, now their pals at the FTC, they are taking action against Adobe for what? For hiding fees, preventing consumers from easily canceling software subscriptions. Nothing about Adobe giving itself the license to steal people's work without their basically keeping them at ransom, and using the generative model, the AI generative model, on the work of its customers, to train it so that ultimately it will let them bypass these people and get them, to go on the streets. They won't have a job. There's nothing about that. The FTC is not going to investigate that. The FTC is going to investigate something else. By the way, I'm not saying that they're not price gouging. They are absolutely price gouging, and they are hiding fees. But, this is all news. This has nothing to do with the issue. So you're seeing how Adobe, they got caught. They had a PR problem. Then they started talking to their media partners and the FTC to try to detract from the issue at hand and move the conversation in a different direction. And this is how supposedly the independent, regulators and the independent media are handling the issue. They're not calling out Adobe for what the real issue is. They're sidetracking. They're moving the goalposts. They're moving people away from what the real issue is. So all this to show you that all these conglomerates, the partners, they all work together. They're in bed. They're not looking out for you. They're not looking out for the con person. Their only interest is protecting their own interests, and that's what they do. So anyway, that's sort of the Adobe thing. And like I said in the video, that I wanted to use this Adobe thing as a jumping platform, to also give you some other things that are going on that you might not be aware of. So you need to start paying attention to how the world is working. So let's look at something else. We have here the Economist. Okay, the Economist is a magazine that's published, and this is all the same nonsense about what stocks to pick, and Warren Buffett, what he had for lunch, stuff like that. But what's interesting is the Economist, sometimes they do publish in their covers. They let some tidbits. They release some tidbits, of things that are planned. Okay, so here is the picture that. So here is the picture that I wanted to look at from the 2012 magazine cover of The Economist, and let's go over it a little bit, because you're gonna find a lot of tidbits in here. Okay, let's start with this picture about Hamas. Now, if you remember, let me pull up that news story. Okay, so the story is that the Israel war that's going on right now, it started out with the Hamas when they attacked and took a bunch of people hostages, and they used hang gliders to breach the Iron Dome of Israel, the impenetrable Iron Dome. And so this hang gliders thing, to me, when I first heard about it, just sounded ridiculous. Like, why would you use hang gliders? I mean, I don't know if you ever seen a hang glider. A hang glider is not something that would be used for a military operation. Regardless, Hamas used it. And then we go in this picture here. This is 2012, by the way. Okay, and you have Hamas here and a hang glider, and then Netanyahu is on the hang glider as well, and they're, I don't know, throwing missiles or bullets at each other. Okay, now we have a bunch of other things here that I wanted to look at as well. Okay, so now you have the bankers who are going in hell. Well, that's true. They are going in hell. But look at here. You have the Satan's working on what is that? Yeah, they're working on hacking. Okay, so because this is something that's gonna be coming soon, they're gonna be a bunch of hacks, and the grid's gonna go down, and that's up their sleeve. So it might happen sooner or later. But here's something interesting. There's a machine here, the climate change machine, that is controlled by the Satan himself, and he has the controls here, which tells you that. It's not something that is natural, and that he is Satan himself is reading the Economist, which I think is funny. What else? Uh, you have King Jong Un playing with rockets, and then you have these guys floating in hell, in lava, in the hellfire, and you have Obama on the Pride boat. So make of that what you will. So a lot of stuff in here, but goes to show you that everything is already choreographed and planned. So there's nothing, this is not something that is happening organically and naturally. Everything is planned. The elites, they make their plans. As God says, they plan and God plans, and God is the blessed of planners anyway. So the plans they are making for us are basically to make us slaves who love their servitude. This is really what the goal is, and this is what they're working towards. So again, it's not about profit. It's not about making money. They already have all the money in the world. Their pals control the economy. They have all the factories, all the industries. They can print as much money as they want, and the print machine is not a big deal. And they've already printed so much money. If you remember back in the day, the financial crisis, this quantitative easing garbage that they were spewing out, that was basically, that meant that what they were saying was, we're printing as much money as we want, and they can do that, right? They have the monopoly. So it's not about money. It's about control. It's about making sure that you don't have the will to stand up, and you don't have the intelligence to understand what's going on, and you're just completely imprisoned in their system. So this is what Adobe represented, but in a microcosm way. But all companies are doing the same thing. It's not Adobe, Google's the same, but in Microsoft, they're all the same, because they're all owned by the same corrupt elites. Now, finally, I want to look at the Quran, just a short passage in the Quran, because again, what I'm talking about is actually not that far-fetched, because if you believe in the Quran as being God's final revelation, then when the Quran talks about Satan, the adversary, and that people follow him, and that he has the power, he has given the power in this life to tempt mankind, and the people who are rich, the people who are powerful, have in a sense made a deal with him, and that's why they're so evil. Then you understand that what's going on is how things should be, and they are. So let's look at here. This is chapter 14, verses 21 and 22. This is Brother Gant's translation of Quran Complete Revelation. You can read it on reader.quranite.com. So let's look at this one. And they will emerge before God altogether, and the weak will say to those who had waxed proud, "We were your followers. Can you avail us something against the punishment of God?" They will say, "Had God guided us, we would have guided you. It is the same for us whether we be distressed or patient. We have no place of refuge." And right after that, the text changes. It says, "And the Satan will say, when the matter is concluded, God promised you the promise of truth, and I promised you, but I betrayed you. And I had not over you any authority except to call you. And you responded to me, so blame not me, but blame yourselves. I cannot aid you, and you cannot aid me. I deny your ascribing to me a partnership before. The wrongdoers, for them is a painful punishment." So there you have it. This is the Satan, the adversary. He, at the end of the day, he says, "I did not have any authority over you. I simply called you, and you responded to me." Meaning what? Meaning that the people who were being followed, the influencers, the billionaires, the celebrities, whatever, they are also simply calling you to emulate them, to help them, to support them, and whether it be the illusion of duress or the illusion of power, fame. At the end of the day, they don't really have any power over you. You have power. You have given your power to them, and on that day, you will absolve each other, and you will say. You will ask them, "Can you avail us?" And they will say no, and the connections will be cut off between us, and everyone will understand that ultimate power belongs to God alone. So that's a little bit of a Quranic lesson, if you will, just to kind of wrap things up and show you that this is all connected. This, we think of the Quran as something separate, and it's not really connected to reality. The Quran talks about these things actually at a very deep level, but you have to understand how the matrix works, what the illusion is, before you can appreciate what the Quran is talking about. Finally, I wanted to bring your attention to my book Tyranny 2.0. I don't know if you've heard about it or not. I've written 3 books now, and Tyranny 2.0 is a book that I've written that talks about the satanic system that we are living in, how it controls us, and also it talks about it at more of an abstract level, and also gives you the parallels between the story of Pharaoh and Moses. The pharaonic system is a parallel of the system that we are living in, and I made those connections using the Quran. So it's definitely worth a read. This book Tyranny 2.0 will give you a better understanding of the magic of the as the Quranic term for it is said, how this magic works, how Pharaoh was using this magic, his magicians were using magic to deceive people, to turn things from the original state to something else. And this is the kind of system that we live in, where things are not what they seem. The elites have done a really good job of deceiving you, using propaganda and brainwashing media into thinking that you are living in this paradise, fool's paradise actually, and that you have a choice, and things are on the up and up, and everyone is looking out for everyone else, and we're a big happy family, but that's not really the reality. We are locked in a war with Satan and with the elites, by the way, and the elites have decided to go basically full berserk, and they to them it's all about control now. It's all about following their own deviant lusts, and their own illusions, which was what the Satan wants them to do. But at the end of the day, the Satan will disown them, and they will disown the people who followed them, and this is how the whole system will ultimately collapse, God willing, on the day of judgment. Anyway, that's it for now. I hope everyone is doing well. Until next time, peace and blessings be upon you.